Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the podcast. Thank you so much for joining me again today. I want to talk about a topic that I mentioned in the last episode that isn't always as fun or exciting as landing a new client or starting a big new project, but it's absolutely essential if you're freelancing, and that's tracking your money. When you're a freelancer, money doesn't come in like a steady paycheck. Some months you're inevitably busier than others. Some clients pay on different schedules, and sometimes you'll hit a slow patch. And if you're not tracking what's coming in and where it's coming from, you can end up feeling overwhelmed, unprepared, or even blindsided when tax season rolls around. I'll share how I do it, not because it's the best method that's out there, but because I've found a system that really works well for me. And what is important is for you to find a system that really works well for you. Now, I personally keep a spreadsheet that breaks down everything by month and by client. So every time I get paid, I log the amount, the client name, and the month that money came in. The spreadsheet also has separate tabs for each year, so that I can look back and compare over time. This helps me see patterns like which months tend to be slow or which clients provide the bulk of my income. That kind of awareness is powerful. It helps me plan, set realistic goals, and make better decisions about where to spend my money. So why is tracking your money so important? Well, let me share a few reasons. First, it shows you where your money is actually coming from. So whether you're using a spreadsheet, accounting software, or even a notebook, make sure you're recording what you earn. It makes calculating your quarterly taxes much easier. Personally, I just use a simple money tracking spreadsheet like the one shown on the screen. It lets me see exactly how much I'm making, and I can compare it to past years and months. That way, I always have a clear picture of where I stand financially. Of course, the spreadsheet shown on the screen is just an example, but I think it gives you an idea of the method that I use. Now, this will help you realize that you may think that you know which client is your anchor client, but when you actually track it, you have a slightly different picture. Sometimes a client who feels smaller actually adds up to a decently significant portion of your yearly income. I've definitely found this to be true for me. At times, I've assumed that one client was responsible for most of my revenue when they actually weren't. I was just spending a lot of time on that project, but when I looked at the revenue, the numbers didn't necessarily match the time or effort that I was putting in, and that was enlightening. And other times, I've underestimated how much a certain client was contributing until I saw it in black and white. And in that case, it's because of the time commitment and the effort that I needed to put into the work. Tracking the numbers really does keep me honest about where my income's really coming from. It's helpful. Second, tracking your money will help you plan for taxes. When you're self-employed, those quarterly taxes, if you're in the US at least, can sneak up on you if you're not ready. So having clear numbers makes it easier to set aside the right amount and avoid stress later. Now, I just published a couple days ago an episode specifically focused on quarterly taxes here in the US. So if you want more information, please tune in to episode 19. Third, tracking your money can help you guide your business decisions. For example, let's say that you notice that one client consistently makes up 60% of your income. That may feel great, but there's also a risk to that if the client were to suddenly go away. So tracking helps you see dependencies and make strategic choices about diversifying if that's appropriate to your situation. You may be okay with the risk associated with having one client be the majority of your business, or like me, you may decide it's a sign to diversify a bit. When I realized one client was a very significant portion of my income, I made an effort to spread things out a little so that I'd have a safety net if anything ever happened with that client's business. Fourth, it highlights trends. Tracking trends is extremely important and helpful. For instance, if you notice that your July is always a slow month, you can prepare for that in advance, whether it's saving a little extra money from your busier months or planning to take time off in July because that's your slowest month. Now, for me, there's also a personal angle to carefully tracking my money. And it isn't just about awareness, it's also motivating. When I examine my spreadsheet and see, for instance, that last year was busier, I challenge myself to match or beat my previous numbers. It turns out to be a little bit of a game for me. Like, okay, last March was higher, so what can I do this March to close that gap? I also set goals to simply increase my numbers year over year. Even a small increase feels like progress. Basically, tracking gives me something concrete to aim for. And on those slow months, it motivates me to get out there, reach my potential clients, and drum up more business. So it's not just about record keeping. It's about keeping myself accountable and inspired to keep growing. Hopefully you've realized that the good news is that this does not have to be complicated. I know that some freelancers prefer accounting software like QuickBooks or I think FreshBooks, and that's great if it works for you. But honestly, for me, I've found a simple spreadsheet can be just as effective, and you can customize it around your needs. For me, just having those monthly and yearly breakdowns in one place makes me feel more in control. And as I mentioned, I do get that motivation from tracking, which is an added bonus that pushes me to keep going and thriving. So if you're freelancing and you're not tracking your money yet, I really encourage you to start today. Don't put it off. Literally start today. Just create a spreadsheet. It can be similar to mine, or you can customize it to meet your own needs. Set up categories that make sense for you, and then commit to logging your income consistently. I think that you'll thank yourself later, because the more you understand your numbers, the more confident and motivated you're going to feel about running your business. Thanks for tuning in. If you've found these episodes helpful, please like and subscribe to help grow the channel a bit. I'd be very appreciative. And I'll see you in the next episode. Take care.